Imagine this: a lone sailor, battered by relentless gales in the Indian Ocean, clings to a splintered mast as his ship disintegrates beneath him. It's 1842, and he's not a famed explorer seeking fame. He's Henry Ellis, a 28-year-old British merchant seaman, thrust into a nightmare where survival hangs by a thread. Waves tower like mountains, crashing with the fury of ancient gods, erasing his vessel and crew in moments. As the sea claims everything, Ellis washes ashore on a forsaken speck of land, gasping for air amid jagged rocks and hostile vegetation. But this isn't just any island, it's a remote atoll, teeming with whispers of savage tribes, where outsiders vanish without trace. For 30 months, Ellis would navigate not only the perils of nature, but the deadly gaze of its inhabitants, cheating death through wits, alliances, and unbreakable will. This is the story of a man who turned isolation into ingenuity, emerging from the abyss transformed. Hold on, every detail ahead reveals how one soul defied oblivion in a world bent on erasure. The voyage began innocuously in Liverpool, aboard the brigantine Meridian, a sturdy 200-ton trader bound for Bombay, with cargo of textiles, tools, and spices. Ellis, orphaned young and hardened by years at sea, signed on as able seaman, drawn by steady pay and the promise of eastern horizons. Captain Josiah Hale, a stern veteran of 50, commanded with iron discipline. His crew, a mix of Brits, Portuguese, and Indians, 12 souls total, each chasing fortune or fleeing pasts. They departed in spring 1842, navigating fair winds down Africa's coast. But as they veered into the Indian Ocean's vast emptiness, the skies darkened. By July, a cyclone brewed, winds howling at 80 knots, whipping the sea into chaos. Ellis was on watch when the first rogue wave struck, splintering the foremast and flooding the decks. "All hands!" Hale bellowed, but panic ensued, rigging snapped like threads, sails shredded. Ellis lashed himself to debris as the hull cracked, the ship tilting fatally. In the frenzy, he glimpsed crewmates swept overboard, their cries drowned by the roar. Alone in the tumult, he rode the wreckage until dawn, when currents deposited him on a coral-fringed shore. Dazed, salt-crusted, and injured a gash on his leg from splintered wood, he staggered inland, collapsing under palms. The island, later identified as one of the Chagos Archipelago's outer atolls, though unnamed then, spanned barely 10 square miles. Dense jungle, lagoons, and beaches patrolled by unseen eyes. No immediate signs of life, but distant drums echoed at dusk, hinting at inhabitants rumored cannibals from Malay tales. Ellis's inventory: a knife, sodden clothes, a pocket compass, and unyielding resolve. Survival's first rule: water. He fashioned a coconut husk catcher for rain, rationing sips to stave dehydration. Food came from scavenging: crabs, bird eggs, fibrous roots. But pain from his wound festered, forcing him to improvise boiling seawater for salt poultices, binding with vines. Days blurred into a haze of fever, but Ellis's naval training kicked in. He built a lean-to from fronds, marking days on a tree to anchor sanity. As strength returned, exploration revealed the island's duality paradise of turquoise waters masking dangers like venomous snakes and treacherous tides. Then, on day 10, he encountered them. Shadows in the foliage, dark-skinned figures with spears, watching silently. The savages, a local tribe of perhaps 50, descendants of marooned sailors and indigenous nomads, viewed him as intruder or prey. Ellis froze, heart pounding. One wrong move meant death. But curiosity won. He raised empty hands, offering a salvaged trinket, a brass button. Thus began a tense dance of survival among strangers, where trust was forged in fire. Part 2. First Encounters and Fragile Alliances. The tribe's approach was cautious, spears poised like accusations. Ellis, unarmed and weakened, knelt submissively, gesturing peace. The leader, a scarred elder named Kalo, as Ellis later learned, barked orders in a guttural tongue mixing Malay and native dialects. They bound his wrists with vines, marching him to their encampment, a cluster of thatched huts ringed by coral barriers, hidden in the jungle's heart. Smoke from fires carried scents of roasted fish and herbs, a stark contrast to his solitary scraps. The villagers, adorned with shells and tattoos, stared with mixture of fear and fascination. Pale skin like his was legend, whispered as "ghost" from the deep. Kahlo interrogated him through gestures, probing for threats. Ellis, drawing on merchant voyages pigeon, mimed shipwreck, waves crashing, men drowning. To prove utility, he demonstrated his knife, carving a fishhook from bone. Impressed, they untied him but kept watch. Integration was slow, fraught with misunderstandings. Language barriers bred suspicion. Ellis learned words like Makan, eat, air, water, Bahia, danger, but actions spoke louder. He aided hunts, using naval knots for snares, boosting yields. In return, they shared meals, grilled turtle, coconut milk, edible ferns. But tensions simmered. Younger warriors, led by fierce Tano, viewed him as omen of ill, advocating exile or worse. Kahlo, wiser, saw value. Ellis's knowledge of stars aided navigation for fishing canoes. A pivotal moment came during a storm huts collapsing under gales. Ellis organized reinforcements, lashing poles with sailor knots, saving structures. Gratitude followed. They gifted him a hut, dubbing him Pale Survivor. Yet savagery lurked. Rituals involved animal sacrifices, and whispers of past cannibalism chilled him. Ellis navigated carefully, respecting customs while clinging to his Christian faith, praying silently at night. Months passed. He adapted to rhythms, dawn hunts, midday crafts, evening stories around fires. He mended tools, taught basic metallurgy from scavenged wreck metal, forging spear tips. Alliances deepened, befriending Kahlo's daughter, Lyra, who taught herbal remedies for his recurring fevers. But isolation gnawed. No rescue ships on horizon, dreams haunted by lost crew. Ellis began journaling on bark, recording observations, tides, wildlife, tribal lore, to preserve sanity and perhaps aid future escape. As the first year waned, a raid from rival islanders tested bonds. Ellis fought alongside, using improvised slingshot, earning warrior status. This forged unbreakable trust, but also deepened his entrapment, leaving now meant betrayal. Survival evolved from mere endurance to cultural immersion, where cheating death meant becoming part of the savage world without losing his core. Part 3. Trials of the Jungle and Inner Demons. Deep in the island's emerald labyrinth, Ellis faced nature's unyielding siege. The jungle was a living entity, vines like snares, insects swarming in bloodthirsty clouds, monsoons turning soil to quagmires. His first major trial, a python encounter while foraging. The serpent, coiled on a branch, struck swiftly. Ellis dodged, slashing with his knife, but venom grazed his arm. Swelling ensued, fever spiking. Tribal healers intervened. Lyra applied poultices of crushed leaves and mud, chanting incantations. He survived, but the scar reminded him of vulnerability. Wildlife abounded. Wild boars charged during hunts. Sharks patrolled lagoons. Crocodiles lurked in mangroves. Ellis honed skills crafting spears from bamboo, setting traps with baited pits. But inner demons proved fiercer. Loneliness clawed at his mind. Nights filled with visions of home London's fog. Family's warmth. Doubt crept. Was rescue myth? To combat, he established routines, daily exercises, star charting for navigation practice. Tribal life offered structure. Communal labors built canoes, wove nets. He contributed innovations, introducing pulley systems from sailing knowledge, easing heavy lifts. Yet cultural clashes arose. Rituals demanding blood oaths unnerved him. He participated minimally, earning wary respect. A turning point. Discovering wreck remnants, washed ashore timber, nails, canvas. Ellis envisioned escape, but shared finds with tribe, strengthening bonds. As months stretched, he learned their history ancestors shipwrecked centuries ago, blending with indigenous. Stories of great birds, ships, fueled his hope. Health crises mounted. Malaria from mosquitoes left him delirious. Tribal medicine bark teas saved him. Through it all, discipline prevailed. He etched calendars on rocks, marking 365 days. The savages, once threats, became kin. Kalo mentored him in survival lore. Tano sparred in mock combats. But tension brewed. Rival tribes raided, forcing defenses. Ellis designed barricades, turning camp into fortress. Cheating death daily forged resilience, transforming him from castaway to integrated warrior. Yet his gaze lingered on the horizon, plotting return. Part 4. Forging Tools and Building Dreams. Amid the island's primal forge, Ellis turned desperation into creation. Lacking modern tools, he improvised a smithy, using volcanic rocks for anvils, coconut husks for bellows, charcoal from fires. Salvaged metal from wreckage became raw material. He hammered nails into hooks, bent iron into blades. This wasn't mere tinkering, it was rebirth. The tribe watched in awe as he demonstrated, forging a harpoon tip that pierced boarhide effortlessly. Callow declared it spirit work, elevating Ellis's status. He taught basics, smelting tin from beach ores, boosting efficiency. Dreams of escape solidified, sketching boat designs on sand, calculating hull curves for stability. Materials gathered painstakingly, teak-like wood felled with stone axes, vines for lashings, sap for sealant. Challenges abounded. Termites devoured early frames. He countered with smoke treatments. Tribal input enriched. Lyra suggested flexible reeds for sails. As year 2 dawned, a prototype canoe emerged, 12 feet, outrigger stabilized. Tests in lagoon revealed flaws, leaks sealed with resin. Inner conflict raged. Leaving meant abandoning allies who'd saved him. Yet homesickness burned. A raid interrupted. Rivals stole tools. Ellis led recovery, using crafted traps. Success cemented loyalty, but underscored isolation. He expanded projects, distilling water, brewing fermented fruits for morale. Journal entries grew detailed. Weather patterns, tidal charts, tribal customs. These records preserved sanity, potential maps for rescuers. Through sweat and setbacks, building became therapy. Each nail hammered defiance against fate. The savages, once alien, collaborated seamlessly, blending indigenous wisdom with his ingenuity. Death loomed in fevers or storms, but Ellis cheated it, piece by piece, forging not just tools, but a path to freedom. Part 5. Clashes with rivals and tribal bonds. Rival tribes shattered the fragile peace, turning the island into a battleground. From neighboring atolls, warriors in war canoes launched raids, seeking resources, captives. Ellis's first clash, ambushed during a hunt, spears flying. He dodged, countering with slingshot volleys, wounding attackers. Tribe repelled them, but losses mounted, 2 villagers slain. Kalo rallied. Ellis designed defenses, thorn barriers, watchtowers from bamboo. Bonds deepened, training sessions where he taught knife combat, blending naval tactics with tribal ferocity. Tano, once skeptical, became brother in arms. Cultural immersion intensified, participating in rites, tattoos marking victories, dances invoking spirits. He respected without converting, maintaining identity. A major assault. 30 rivals stormed at dawn. Ellis orchestrated ambush pit traps, fire arrows, his invention. Victory came, but it cost wounds treated with herbs. Gratitude followed, named Iron Hand by elders. Personal ties grew. Lyra's affection complicated escape plans. He cared but yearned home. Raids revealed islands' interconnectedness, trade networks via canoes. Ellis learned navigation lore, reading stars, currents. Journal noted vulnerabilities. Rivals' canoes inspired his boat refinements. Amid violence, humanity shone, sharing stories around fires, forging unity, Death stalked in skirmishes, but Ellis cheated it through strategy, turning savages into allies against common foes. Part 6. The Turning Point of Despair. Despair's shadow lengthened as months blurred into the second year. A devastating storm ravaged the camp, huts demolished. Food stores flooded. Ellis, leading rebuild, battled exhaustion. Fever returned. Hallucinations of rescue ships taunting him. Tribes suffered. Malnutrition weakened hunters. Morale plummeted. He rallied with speeches drawing on naval discipline, assigning tasks, rationing wisely. Innovation saved. Distilling seawater for salt. Preserving fish. But isolation gnawed. No sails on horizon. Dreams of England vivid. A suicide attempt by a young warrior shook him, reminder of mental toll. Ellis shared his journal, inspiring hope through stories of perseverance. Turning Point. Discovering a message in a bottle. Faded note from 1830. Shipwreck. It reignited escape fire. He refined boat plans, incorporating outriggers for stability. Tribal council debated his ideas. Callow supported, seeing mutual benefit. Bonds tested. Lyra confessed love. Ellis gently declined, explaining duty. Despair peaked in a failed raid, captured briefly, tortured for info. Escape via cunning, feigning illness, slitting bonds. Return heroic, but scars deepened resolve. Cheating death meant confronting inner voids, transforming despair into fuel for survival's next phase. Part 7. Crafting the ultimate escape vessel. With resolve steeled, Ellis spearheaded the boat's construction, a 20-foot hybrid of tribal canoe and European skiff. Materials: felled hardwoods, sharkskin sails, bone reinforcements. Tribe assisted. Warriors hauled logs, women wove fibers. Challenges: wood warping in humidity. He keyline dried via fires. Hull shaped with adzes curved for waves. Keel weighted with stones for balance. Tests in lagoon. Leaks patched with pitch. Innovations: rudder from oar. Mast stepped for sails. Timeline: 6 months of labor, interrupted by raids. 12. Kafer. N10. Wills. Problem. Provet. Can. 12. 12. N10. Ellis's expertise shone, calculating buoyancy, ensuring seaworthiness. Tribe marveled, sea beast born of land. Personal toll, blisters, fatigue, but purpose drove him. Final touches: provisions, dried meat, coconuts, water bladders, for 500-mile voyage to Mauritius. Emotional weight, leaving kin. Kalo blessed it, gifting talisman. Vessel named Defiance, symbol of cheating fate. Launch approached, tension palpable. This craft was lifeline or tomb. Part 8. The perilous voyage begins. Dawn of month 30. Defiance launched amid chance. Ellis, alone to maximize supplies, hugged farewells. Lyra's tears, Kalo's nod, pushed into surf, paddling fiercely. Calm initially deceived. Then winds rose, waves building. Navigation, compass guided. Stars at night. First gale, boat pitched, water flooding. Bailing endlessly, mussels screaming. Sharks trailed, fins ominous. Rations dwindled, fish caught mid-sea. Hallucinations, voices of crewmates. A squall, nearly capsized, righted by counterweight. Land sighted after 12 days, Mauritius cliffs. Weakened, he beached, collapsing. Rescued by locals, story spread. Cheating death at sea, cemented legend. Part 9. Return and reflection. Recovered in Port Louis, Ellis petitioned authorities, secured ship for tribe retrieval. No. Focus shifted homeward. Voyage to England. Recounted tale to cruise. Arrival 1845. Published memoir. Hailed hero. Reflections. Savages taught humanity. He bridged worlds. Later life. Merchant captain. Advocating humane exploration. Island changed him resilient. Empathetic. Part 10. Legacy of survival. Ellis's story endures. Testament to adaptability. Cultural respect. 30 months forged man who cheated death through intellect. Alliances. Inspires today reminder that in abandonment, human spirit builds bridges to salvation. If moved, like and subscribe for more.